Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. My manifestation technique. This is what I use. This is how I manifest. Some of you are going to like this, some of you aren't, but those of you that actually try to sort of incorporate this methodology into your life is probably going to find manifestation becomes far easier. A lot of us, and I call this the destination-driven manifestation, and it really is ultimately focused around what is it that we ultimately want. Now, many of us, and again, I'm not passing judgment on anything, but many of us have a very specific thing that we're trying to manifest. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anything. Nothing wrong with anything. But some of us have a very specific manifestation that we're trying to manifest. And what you do is you hold the vision of that thought. You think about it. Really, you can do complex things. You can imagine it and you can see yourself holding it. You can just think about it and put intention towards it, like I would really like to experience this. I have honestly found that I don't have to do anything too terribly crazy. Generally, all I have to do is just say, yeah, I'd like to experience this, or I'd like to start moving in this direction towards better YouTube channel, towards a better paying job. I'd like to see about making more income, increasing my revenue. I'd like to see about meeting someone special, or I'd like to see about falling in love, whatever the thing is that I'd like. Now, a lot of us, what we do is we take one step kind of closer towards it. And we say, I want a very specific job. I want to win the lottery. I want to date so-and-so. I want whatever. We can have whatever we want for the most part. And I will say there are times when we always get an answer, if you will, and this is a fun adage that happened once, but you always get an answer. Sometimes the answer is no. And I don't want to say it's no. That's not the truth of the matter. What it is sometimes is that the direction you're going, or the way that you're going at it, or the specific avenue may not be available to you. And that's okay. And that's where you've got to sometimes take a step back from your manifestation and say, what is it that I really do desire? What is it that I'm really trying to accomplish? Maybe in the case of a relationship, is it really being with this specific person? Or is it really getting back together with this individual? Or is it more to make the pain stop? Or is it more because I really want to be in love? What are your actual reasonings for why you want to be in a relationship? And a lot of times it truly is to be in love. That is the experience that so many of us are after. Or in the case of enhancing your job, maybe there's not a position in your particular company that should happen, even though that's what you've been trying to do. But maybe there's actually a position in another company that you might want to open yourself up to. Again, sometimes we have desires to manifest this more grandiose version of ourselves, but we sometimes limit how we can get there by saying that I want to be with so-and-so, or I want this particular company to give me a bigger raise, or I want this particular boss to like me more and open up doorways for me, or I want this particular avenue to do X, Y, and Z, or I want this particular person to treat me a specific way, rather than I want to be treated a particular way. I want to enhance my growth. I want to be in a better position at a better company with a better job. I want to make more income. I would like to be doing something that I enjoy doing more than I currently do. When we take a step back and actually look at what it is that we truly desire, rather than the specificity or the specific thing that we keep focusing on, you'll actually find more success. Now, I said at the beginning that you can have whatever you want, but sometimes the answer is no. And I know instantly a lot of you are like, wait. So I can have whatever I want unless I can't. Yeah. So then how do we know when that's appropriate? How do I know? Because I'm going to speak this from my vantage point rather than everyone else. A lot of people are going to say it's you pushed out. A lot of people are going to say all sorts of stuff. And frankly, one of the reasons why this channel is not as successful as it could be is because I don't tell people what they want to hear. I do really my best. I try very hard to tell people advice that's going to help them in their life, help them expand their consciousness, help them wake up from this dream that we're all living. So how do you know when sometimes the answer's no? And what I've found in my life, and I'm going to use a few examples possibly, but one in particular, I have found that generally when you feel extreme frustration in trying to manifest, something's not right. When you're truly in the flow in life, when you're truly in the flow, when you're like in the vortex, as Hicks calls it, but really when you're in the flow, when you're just vibing with life, your general energy's good, you think general positive thoughts, the commands that you're giving to your subconscious crew, right? You're basically saying, hey, all things are good, all lights are green in my life, everything's working out, all these awesome opportunities are coming. When you're in the flow, things are easy. They truly are. They're easy. They happen easily. They happen more easily. And things tend to flow to you. You tend to flow into them, however you want to look at it. But we tend to meet happily in the middle when we are in the flow. When we're not in the flow, we tend to feel frustration, anger, like grumpiness, like I need this to happen, I need this to happen, I need this to happen, and it's not happening. And that's all we can see, and that's all we can focus on, and that's all we can feel. And the problem is when you're in that place, one, because you're so focused on what you don't have, you can't manifest anything else. So it makes it very challenging when you're just like constantly looking at something and saying, why won't you go away? Why won't you go away? Well, it's like, stop looking at it. Give it a chance to disappear. Give it a chance for that thing to crawl off on its own in some magical way so it's not there anymore. So the reason oftentimes I feel that we feel frustration, or I've felt frustration, is because I'm trying so hard to go in a particular direction. I want it to happen this way. I wanted Dan RadioStyle to be this giant channel. I wanted this ability to help millions of people, and I thought, why wouldn't this work? And I've put years into this channel, and truly to only have 14,000 subs or whatever the hell it is right now is kind of disappointing, to say the least. And so it got to a point where I'm like, why am I working so hard on an avenue it's not panning out? Now, again, I realized full well that I could do videos that kind of are what people want to hear, but that's not what I teach. That's not who I am, and that's very important to me. Like, selling out in that regard is not cool. Now, coming up with something that I enjoy talking about, that I like doing, that is helping a group of people, that's what is a good decision, right? And that's where I was looking at it from a YouTube standpoint. Wanted to have a successful channel. I enjoy reaching the masses. I enjoy playing a part and trying to help organize and get these things together, trying to help people with information, and they can make up their own decisions. So I decided, what the heck, I'm going to take the second channel I had that I wasn't really doing anything with, and I'm going to take it in a very specific focus. A focus that, by the way, does not line up with this channel in any way, shape, or form. So I will not share that channel. People can come this direction much easier than going that direction, frankly, because it's very political and all this other stuff, and most people would probably unsubscribe from me, frankly. But whatever the case is, I started my first video that mattered on April 10th of this year, of 2020. I'm not sure when this video is being watched. And then literally within 1 month, I was at 10,000 subscribers. I was having videos that, like on a good video on Dan RadioStyle, might get 5,000 views. A good video, like right now where I'm at, I'm a month and a half in, the best video I got, I think, hit 70,000 views in 24 hours. Like, night and day difference. And that was where I realized, what is it that you really want? I want a YouTube channel. And I kept insisting that it had to be Dan RadioStyle. And instead, I've incorporated Dan RadioStyle into another brand, and that is proving to be quite successful. I think as of this morning, I was almost at 13,000 subscribers. I'm almost caught up to Dan RadioStyle in a month and a half. And what it took Dan RadioStyle's channel, this channel, I think 5 years to get to this point. By the way, the first 100 were painful, and if you look at any of my older videos, they were horrible. So I've come a long way, and I'm not trying to discount what I've done, and I'm certainly not trying to discount the message that I serve on this channel. But what I am saying is that sometimes things aren't happening exactly the way we want. And just because it's not happening exactly how we want doesn't mean there's not still a way to get the bigger picture of what we desire. Is it love that you really desire? There's a great place where Neville Goddard talks about the quote of, everyone is yourself pushed out. And the only place I could find this quote, because I've heard him misquoted a lot when it comes to us pushed out. There is, the world is you pushed out, and everyone is yourself pushed out. These are the two quotes of his that I've been able to find. And the context, which is very important with Goddard, of everyone is yourself pushed out, was around this lady who came to Neville and asked for advice. She said, I want to be with this specific person. And Neville said, no, What you want to be is in love. And she says, no, I want to be with this particular person. I want to be in a loving relationship with this person. And once again, he's like, no, you want to be in a loving relationship is what you truly desire. And she says, no. So, long story short, a few months later, he gets an invitation to her wedding, and he's at the wedding and sees her and realizes that the guy that she's marrying was not the specific person that she was after. And Goddard comments on the fact that she knew, that he knew, that she knew, that he knew, that that's not the same dude you were asking for a few months back. And his point is that you want the experience of love. And sometimes we need or want other specific avenues or specific people to play a part in our life. And as much as people want to say everyone's you pushed out, so theoretically they're you, so if they're you, then you should totally be able to control them or at least get them to behave the way you want them to because they're only you. But the fact is that's not true. That's not actually true. That's an incorrect assessment of Goddard's words. It's an incorrect assessment of a universal truth. In fact, other people are their own souls, and we actually come here to play together. It's kind of like looking at this as a playground. And we all come here to play together in this playground. I'm not bringing a bunch of myselves to play with myself. It's like a great way to look at this. Maybe for some of you this might work, for some of you it won't. But it's like if everyone's me pushed out, and literally they're me, and so I should be able to get them to do whatever I want, then isn't the entire YouTube audience me? And if everybody that's listening to my YouTube channel's me, then what's the point of doing the channel? Seriously. Why would I just create this gigantic audience of myself? It's not. It's to interact with other souls, other beings, other pieces of light in this universe, and share an experience with them in a playground where we can. So others are not yours to do whatever you wish for. Others are their own being. Law of attraction will attract you to any number of circumstances. It attracts you to that situation. It attracts you to that space and time where you can basically do your thing. But ultimately, it still requires you to interact with a person. If it's a relationship, you need to interact with them. You need to talk to them. You need to have a relationship. And frankly, if you don't have things in common, you're quickly going to realize this relationship won't work. As much as you wanted to manifest a relationship with them, you might find they are not quite like you thought they were. Now, you don't use law of attraction to change that. You realize that people are more complex than maybe we realize. And sometimes somebody may not be the best fit for us. Sometimes people grow and evolve in relationships and leave each other and shouldn't get back together. And sometimes they should. The choice is ultimately going to be up to yours if you're trying to get back with someone. But if you're looking for a relationship and you think there's someone very specific and you're frustrated and you've been doing all these techniques and you're doing the work and it's not happening and you're frustrated, reassess what it is you're interested in. What I have found in my life is every time I get to these places where I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall, when I eventually stop, pull myself back and say, what is it that you really desire, Dan? And I honestly answer that question. In the case of the YouTube with Dan RadioStyle, I was very frustrated, was trying all sorts of things and couldn't get it to stick. So I stepped back from it and I said, what is it that you really like? And I'm like, well, I'd want a successful channel. Like I'd like the efforts I'm putting into it to reach masses. So I feel like I'm actually doing at least something similar to what I was doing when I was in radio, but on top of that, affecting the world. Like I feel like I'm living my life purpose. And just because I was trying to do it in a certain format that wasn't working, I said, well, what else do you like? And I found this other topic. I've been interested in it in about 3 years now. And I said, what the heck? Let's do it on that. And was rewarded handsomely for it. Sometimes we have to take a step back from the thing we want. If you are beating your head against a wall, trying to make something work out that's not, sometimes a different approach is all you need. But if what you're doing is not working, and if what you're doing is causing frustration, you need to mix it up. There's a lesson in this. There is something to know or learn or understand. There is a deeper knowledge. There is a deeper wisdom that is right in front of you that you have to figure out before you're going to be allowed to move forward. Now, maybe it is with the specific situation that you've got in your mind. Very likely. But sometimes taking a step back and looking at it might cause you to take a different angle at something. You might still be heading in the same place. Again, maybe you're trying to get a promotion at your company, and rather than saying, well, does this mean I've got to leave the company? No. Maybe there's a different department. Maybe there's a different manager. Maybe there's a different angle that you can go about this that you haven't tried yet. You've been so fixated on getting your boss to do something for you that you didn't see this other thing over here. And the second you step back, you realize, or you got clarity, or to a lot of degrees, you finally opened yourself up to what is it that I want. And then when you ask that proper question, you channel essentially your own higher self, you channel an answer. And that answer that you get will help you take your next step. Don't insist that your manifestation has to happen exactly specifically a certain way. Look at the bigger picture. Understand that we're manifesting an extension of ourselves. We're manifesting expansion. We're not manifesting little individual pinpricks in the universe, little stars from a distance. We're manifesting the entire night sky. And so many of us see the star, and we're trying to manifest that star. If only I could have that thing. But you're forgetting the larger purpose, the larger picture. That beautiful star is among many that creates a beautiful mosaic in our nighttime sky, assuming there's no pollution and light pollution and all those things. See life a little differently. When you alter your course a little bit, you will see successes fall into your lap. Again, this should be a lot easier than it is. And if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, take a different look at it. Take a different angle at this. Open your mind up to the bigger thing that you're really after. Stop being so stubborn that you have to do it this way. We frequently talk about don't choose the how something happens. Oftentimes, a specific person is very much a how for experiencing love, isn't it? And a lot of us do this. I've done it a bunch of times. I even ruined a friendship messing around with the way these energies work. Now, granted, it wasn't the best of friendships, apparently anyway, but it's amazing the way these energies work. And you've got to be very careful how hard you force your energies onto others, because they have an option to react to that. They feel that. That affects them. Remember, who you're being as a person is going to matter gobs when it comes to interacting with people. When it comes to your manifestation, keep the big picture open. Understand that you're heading in a direction, not necessarily walking a straight, fine line to your destination. It will be varied. It will zigzag. It will go in places you didn't expect. That is some of the fun of this. Let it unfold the way it's supposed to, and your dreams will come true. Dan RadioStyle.